Hi everyone, my name is Raxhael and welcome to the French Seams. Thank you very much for joining me for today's video. This is a special Sew Phoenix September vlog and it's all about our plans and our progress. Sew Phoenix September is a challenge being hosted over on Instagram by myself and my two wonderful friends Sam Sew Let Sparkle and Katherine Makery. It's basically an opportunity to remake something from your sewing past, be it a garment, an accessory, a bag, using the tools and techniques and experience and skills that you now have. So it's basically a phoenix rising from the ashes. If you would like to know more, please check out our introductory vlog in which the three of us were very kindly invited onto Sam's channel, and I'll pop the link up here, and we go through how the challenge came about and how you can enter and all that good stuff. There is also a vlogger tour going on, which has been wonderful. I've enjoyed every single vlog so far that's come out and I can't wait to see the rest of them, and I've got a playlist on my channel and I'll pop a link to it up here as well. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch those, they're really great and you can get some wonderful inspiration from those as well. So a huge thank you to all the vloggers. So how do you enter the challenge? So over on Instagram, you post your make in any day throughout September. There isn't a deadline date throughout September. If you do have a picture of the original, that would be great, but it's not necessary. You tell us how you improved it and you show us your new make. Please also make sure to tag Sew Phoenix September 25 and tag myself, the French Seams, Sam Sew Let Sparkle and Katherine Makery, and also tell us where in the world you are, because there are a whole host of wonderful prizes, and a massive thank you to all the lovely sponsors, and some of those are location specific. So that's basically how you can enter. If you're not on Instagram or you cannot post over there, you can of course email us your entry at sewphoenixseptember@gmail.com and you will be entered into the random draw as well. So I hope everybody is really enjoying working on their Sew Phoenix makes. We have seen a few pop up on Instagram, which is absolutely marvellous. I've really enjoyed every single time my phone pings with an entry. It's just wonderful. And I hope you are getting an opportunity to work on them this month. So as I say, there's no deadline date. You can post throughout September. And if you would like to show us your work in progress, you can of course use the hashtag SewPhoenixSeptemberWIP. And if you're running into any problems or need an answer to a question, you can use the hashtag SewPhoenixSeptember help and somebody will come to your rescue. Basically, this vlog is all about our plans and our progress. So in the introductory vlog, it was just very high level what the challenge is about, but now we're getting down to specifics. So I will tell you all about now a very early make, and I should, before I move on, mention what I'm wearing today. This is a very early make, I think early 2017. This is the Sew Over It Pussy Bow blouse, and I haven't worn this in years, and I put it on this morning for this vlog. I really like it. I'm definitely going to make another of these blouses. It's so pretty. So as I say, I made it very early on. It does have a couple of mistakes, but it's a really pretty blouse with the neckline and the bow, and I've got little pearl buttons, and it's just a really pretty blouse, and I'm delighted that I pulled it out of the wardrobe to give it another opportunity, and I will definitely be making one of these in future. So what am I here to talk about, however? And I'm here to talk about the, as I found the pattern, the Colette Patterns crepe dress. So it's not trading under Colette anymore, they're under Seamwork, so I'll pop a link to the pattern down below. You can still get it. I have the paper copy that I got in a sewing shop in Dublin in 2017. I didn't know about PDF patterns at that time, and I was just very taken by it. I think it's a very pretty dress. So it's got little it's got two views, so it's got a scoop neck here and it's got a kind of a sweetheart neckline here, and then it's got a wrap at the back, which is very interesting. So it crosses over at the back. It gives you two views here. You can use a contrast tie or self tie, and it's got a lovely panelled skirt, and it's got bust darts and waist darts as well, and it's got lovely cap sleeves. So I was quite taken by this when I went into the sewing shop. Up to that I had only made little skirts and a shell top and stuff, but I was really keen to start making a dress. So I picked this up and said, yes please, I'd like to try it. So I looked at the back and I looked at the fabric, which is, they suggest cotton lawn, silk or rayon crepe, light silk twill, or medium weight fabrics such as cotton, batiste, shirting, linen or pique. I then went and bought 5 meters of quilting cotton. So as you can see, this didn't go very well. I'm going to pop in some pictures here because even in 2017, just before my Instagram account, I think, I was documenting my makes. So I'll pop in me making it. You can see in one picture, I think you can see our landline. We haven't had a landline in a long time, so that dates that picture. But I do also have videos of me wearing it. So here it is. The eagle-eyed of you will notice that is our sitting room. That's now been entirely redecorated. It doesn't even look the same, but that is me being incredibly proud of my dress that then never saw the light of day because I never wore it out. But I do remember loving it and loved making this and going through it and reading the instructions. The instructions on this are very good actually. It's it does say it's a beginner pattern, but I think they hold your hand throughout. It's really great. But I did love that. It was the entirely wrong fabric. It really was, and I hold my hand up to that. But it gave me an opportunity to work with fabric, to do a little bit of fitting, not really, because I didn't really know how to do grading, things like that. I didn't lengthen it at all. I think I did grade it because one thing I have learned, I cut out the pattern straight away. So it is this kind of tissue paper. This is a different view, but I did cut straight into this, so that might cause me a little bit of problems because I'm not the same size. But I did cut out a size 6 for the bust, and then a 10 for the waist, and a 12 for the hips. But the 12 for the hips is on the skirt, so I literally have a gap between the end of the bodice and the skirt where it's a 10 going to a 12. So I'm not quite sure how we'll square that circle, but never mind. I did try. But that was basically how I started with this dress. So now, of course, I do know about grading between sizes, blending sizes nicely, truing them up, and then if I need to add length to the bodice and add length to the skirt. That's another lesson learned. So yes, definitely cutting into the paper pattern wasn't ideal. I now, of course, rarely buy paper patterns. I do, of course, buy PDF patterns because you can just reprint them, which is marvellous. So that's a little history of the crepe dress. So now will I show you what I'm going to do to recreate it. So I took out the pattern pieces and I ironed them. So they're in this kind of, I was going to call it crepe paper. It's the crepe dress, but yes, it's like that kind of weight. I have ironed these, which really makes a difference when you're cutting out your fabric because these crinkle an awful lot, but it's very easy to iron them on a medium iron with no steam and they come out beautifully flat. This does come with facings, so it comes with a front facing and a back facing which goes all the way into the crossover. I don't particularly like facings, so I'm going to try and put binding in instead, and of course a fabulous opportunity to use this magnificent binding here, which is from the Specky seamstress. I love their binding and they are one of our sponsors, so thank you very much. But they were also incredibly kind to suggest this custom bias for the challenge. So it's on a kind of cream background, which will work perfectly for my fabric, which I shall show you shortly. And it says redesigned, remade, reimagined, which of course suits this challenge perfectly, but of course will suit future makes as well, of course. But to give a little nod to the three of us, you've got a B for Katherine, you've got a star for Sam, and you've got a little flamingo for me. So I just love this so much. I think it's so pretty, and I'm definitely going to be including it on my make. So definitely I've learned that I do not like facings unless they're sewn down, unless there's an absolute reason for them. So I'm going to try and do binding. I'm going to look to see if I need to lengthen the bodice or the skirt. I don't think so. I don't think I will have to, which again is another lesson because sometimes you can try and overfit, but I have, because this is such lovely lightweight tissue paper, it's very easy to hold it against yourself and pull it in, check the darts, and I don't think I'll need to alter the pattern too much, which is great. The one thing I will alter on this pattern is the pockets. So this is the pocket pattern piece. I do have another video where I go through how I do this as well, and I'll pop a link to it up here. But this is the pocket piece that you get with the dress, and it just sits into the side seam of the skirt. So, last nail. Side seam of the skirt with this little notch here. However, I don't like a flappy pocket, so what I do is I alter the pocket piece. And I'll pop a picture of how I do it here. Hopefully I'll cut out the fabric. Basically, I lie a piece of paper under the skirt as well, and then I put my pocket where it should be on the side of the skirt, line it up like this, and then just lengthen the pattern piece so it goes up. If I can hold it here, so it goes all the way up into the waist seam, so you can see the curve of the waist seam here. So I now know I can attach all of this to the side seam, and then I can catch it into the waist seam, and that way they're fully secured. So again, I cut out 4 of these to mirror image, but it's lengthened up to the waist seam, and it gives a much nicer finish to pockets, much bigger pocket, and of course because it's secured into the waist seam, you can put your keys and your phone into it, which is marvelous. So that's another thing that I've learned along on my sewing journey, definitely, is to alter pockets, because I do think pockets are a necessity. So what else will I do? I will use suitable fabric, which I didn't. So now in my sewing journey now, I'm a little bit more familiar with which fabrics suit which patterns, which fabrics I like, which fabrics like my sewing machine, all that good stuff. So I did definitely pay attention to the fabric choice in this. And of course now, from 7 or 8 years ago, there's far more opportunity to get lovely fabric online and in person as well, which is just wonderful. So shall I move on to the actual fabric? So I popped up to my local fabric shop, which is the Crafty Studio, and they are again one of the sponsors of this challenge. So thank you very, very much, Anne-Marie. And I saw this fabric and I thought it would be perfect. It is a viscose and it is a summery fabric, I will grant you that, but I'm hoping to get some wear out of it in September. And of course, like, I'll wear it with a little slip and then I can try to move it into the autumn as well. But I just saw this and I thought it was the most lovely fabric. It's absolutely beautiful. So it is a white base and it's got these beautiful pink, almost animal-y print on them. So other things I've learnt are, in my sewing journey, I do enjoy an animal print, which I definitely didn't before, but I do really enjoy it now. I think this is quite subtle, quite pretty, but I do really, really enjoy it. And another thing I've learnt as well is that I really, really love pink, which I definitely didn't back in the day. And this, of course, is pink animal print, and I thought it would be perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the dress out of this fabric, but then I'm going to do a contrast tie, because I think the tie would just be lost in this busy fabric. And I found this fabric, which is a plain pink, and I think it's more a kind of a crepe fabric, but I think it's got nice structure and stability to it. And this is going to be my contrast tie. So I'm going to try and make the tie quite long because it does fasten at the back. But of course, when it gets a bit cooler, you want to wear it with a cardigan, things like that. I'm hoping I can wrap it around again and tie it to the front so it's more comfortable to wear with a cardigan. So I think these two fabrics will work really, really nicely together. And I was delighted to pop up to the Crafty Studio and see these fabrics in person and to put them side by side, weigh them up, see what they feel like, all that good stuff, because there's no substitute for shopping in person, really, is there? So very, very happy with my fabric choices. I think it's really, really pretty, and hopefully it will match this very, very nicely. So they are my plans and these are my fabric. I do hope you enjoy this. I'm wondering if anybody out there has made this Colette crepe dress. Doesn't seem to be a huge amount over on Instagram, but I'll be interested to see if anybody has actually made it. I'm very, very much looking forward to remaking it. So I will say goodbye for now. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will pass you over to the very lovely Katherine from Sew Makery. Bye for now, everyone.
Hello, lovely ones. How are we all doing? So you will have just heard from the gorgeous Raxhael, my wonderful friend, all about her plans for Sew Phoenix September. And I don't know about you guys, but I am having the best September ever. Honestly, I've been loving seeing already what people have been making for this brilliant sewing challenge that I am very, very lucky to be hosting with my gorgeous friends, Raxhael, the French Seams, and Sam from Sew Let's Sparkle with Sam. Honestly, it's just a complete honour and a complete pleasure. I am so, so lucky to be able to call them friends and to be doing this challenge with them. And it's been so amazing to see so many people getting involved with this challenge. Honestly, when you have these little ideas and those little pipe dreams, and then to see people joining in with the challenge and enjoying it. We've had some amazing vloggers on the tour sharing all about what they're going to be making, and honestly, I'm just having the best time ever, and I'm loving seeing some entries already, which is so, so brilliant. But it's my turn now to share with you, lovely ones, what my plans are for Sew Phoenix September. So I'll do a quick little bit of background about when I sort of started sewing and why I chose the project that I'm going to talk about right now. So I started sewing a long time ago, but I started dressmaking probably about, I want to say 9-10 years ago. So I looked online, and one of the first things that came to me when I was looking online was Sew Over It. And I suspect quite a lot of other people may have started with Sew Over It patterns. And I fell in love with the aesthetic of their patterns. I loved the way that Lisa Comfort styled lots of the patterns as well. And yeah, I just really enjoyed watching videos and learning that way. So yeah, I went into a deep dive into Sew Over It patterns, and they were sort of the early projects that I did when I was first dressmaking. And I had some guidance from my mum as well, who helped me through lots of projects as well. But yeah, the main ones that I started with were Sew Over It patterns. So the first thing that I sewed from Sew Over It was this pattern. And I don't know if any of you will recognise it, but it is the Susie blouse. And I made the Susie blouse up in this beautiful Tana lawn, which I still absolutely love, which has this gorgeous grey daffodils and then this lovely bright pink and pale pink and navy blue in the background. And my gorgeous sister Lucy bought me this fabric for my birthday. And yeah, I knew that I wanted to make it up into something I could wear, and this is the pattern that I chose. So the Susie blouse is, I'll try and hold it back so you can see, and I will put some line drawings in, well, not line drawings, I will show you the line drawings on the pattern in a little bit. But it's a V-neck blouse with a facing inside, and then there are 3 sleeve length options. I did the 3/4 length sleeve, which is just hemmed normally. I even hand stitched the hem. This project potentially is better than I thought it was. But yeah, I hand stitched the hem, which you can see I did a little blind hem. And then it's got I think it's a slightly dipped hem at the back. Or is that just where it's not very well ironed? Might just be where it's not very well ironed. But yeah, it goes sort of below. I say it's around hip length that it stops. And yeah, I really was very proud of this make, as I think most people are when they've started sewing and they sew something up, and yeah, they're just so excited to have made something for the first time. And I was really proud of this blouse. I'm sure I've got a picture of me in it, and hopefully it will go up here somewhere and you can see it. And oh my goodness me, I absolutely, yeah, I adored this top, but there are things on this top that I would like to improve. And I think I know that for a fact that when you're first sewing, you are in that moment, aren't you, where you are desperately trying to learn something, and inevitably you're going to potentially make mistakes. Not everybody, but I certainly made some mistakes that I wasn't happy with. And the main one on this is this neckline here. Now, something happened here and we've got like a crossover, and I am not happy with how bulky it is in here. It's very bulky here. I think I did something wrong there, and I'm not sure what. It was probably I didn't mark the pattern up properly, or I didn't mark up the fabric from the pattern properly. So yeah, one major improvement I want to work on is this point on the neckline with this facing, and see how that goes. And another one I can see is that, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I obviously did not match up my overlocking. I think it would be much nicer to have that overlocking in a matching colour to the fabric. So yeah, that's definitely something that I will be changing. And another thing is I was not aware of grading patterns when I made this. So I've had a look back at the pattern that I have. Where is it? And this just made me smile. This is when I was super keen and I just started sewing PDF patterns. It's in a folder and it's got the Sew Over It Susie blouse up on here. And then I also labelled all of my things up. So if it was a blouse, it was in a yellow label. If it was a dress, it was an orange label, and so on. And I even wrote the sort of initials of the pattern company so I could identify it quickly. And then inside, yeah, I had, this just made me smile so much. I'd obviously printed it out at home and I'd put a little ribbon on it. I was like, this is the only pattern that's in my stash like this. I was like, maybe I should start doing them like this again. It's really cute. But I looked back at the pattern and I did cut out a straight size 10, which definitely fits me on my shoulders and my bust if I look at all the measurements, but it did not fit me on my hips. It's definitely, I know, it's one of the reasons I don't wear it is that it doesn't fit on my hips properly. So when I'm wearing it, it doesn't drape over my hips. It sort of gets stuck on my hips. So it sort of ruches up, and yeah, the blouse just doesn't sit properly. So what am I going to do? I am then going to make sure that I grade properly this time. I'm grading from at least a 10 on the bust to a 12 on the hips at least. I will check the measurements. I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm fairly certain. And then I'm going to make sure that I choose a matching overlocking thread. I am going to make sure that I do this neckline effectively and get this facing sitting in nicely. Looks like I did understitch it, But yeah, I want to make sure that's sitting nicely and yeah, sitting down here. But yeah, this is my original Susie blouse and I'm going to make another one. So let me share with you the Susie blouse pattern and the line drawing so you can see. So we have got various sleeve options on the Susie blouse. So this is the sleeve option that I did. And then you can do a longer sleeve option with a cuff or a short sleeve. I have not decided which I want to do, but I don't think I'm going to do the one I did before. I think I'm going to change the sleeves. I am tempted by the long sleeve with the cuff, but I'm equally tempted by the short sleeve because then I can wear my top with a cardigan on top and I won't get the sleeves ruching up. So it'll either be long sleeves or short sleeves. Have not yet quite decided. But let me read what they call, what their sort of description of the Susie blouse is. Or maybe they don't have one. I thought often on favourite patterns they have a little description, but maybe they don't have it. Sorry, excuse me reading. No, they do not. Oh, another thing I've just thought of is the interfacing I used on here. Oh, I can see it. It's making my skin crawl. Can you see it's that papery stuff? And look, it's actually almost sort of coming apart. It's gone all fluffy and weird. So I will be using woven interfacing. That's another thing that I'm going to change because I absolutely love woven interfacing. So yes, that will be another thing I change. But let's go back to the pattern. So the Susie blouse is what I'm going to make, and I'm going to use this beautiful fabric. So the last one obviously was a cotton lawn, beautiful texture, but not very drapey. So this time I am going to make it out of this beautiful, now if you've been following me for a little while, I've had this fabric for a long time. This beautiful viscose twill. It's got a little twill weave on it. Don't know if you can see that. Sorry, it's my pattern falling on the floor. Yeah, you can just see the twill. And it's a fabric godmother fabric, and it's beautifully drapey viscose twill. It's got a lovely weight to it. Perfect for a blouse. Moves beautifully. Let me just show you the drape on it. It's beautiful. It's got these lovely flowers and then these insects. There are beetles and ladybirds and buzzy bees, and yeah, I think it'll make an absolutely wonderful blouse. And lovely, I've got pink cardigan that I could wear on top. It'll look lovely with jeans. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Very excited for my Sew Phoenix project. And I thought also I'm going to use this fabulous bias binding that we've got from the Specky seamstress for Sew Phoenix September, and this will look lovely. I'm going to use this on the hem, and I'm going to use it on the hem, which I think will look really nice with this fabric, given that the fabric is actually the same colour as the binding. So I'm very lucky there. So yeah, that is what I am going to be making for my Sew Phoenix project. I am so excited about this, and I'm going to go and get it cut out today because time is of the essence and we need to get this made for Sew Phoenix September. So thank you so much, Rachel, for having me in your video, and I'm going to let you go on to the fabulous Sam, and Sam's going to tell you all about what she's up to for her Sew Phoenix project. Happy sewing, lovely ones. Bye.
Thanks so much, Catherine. I can't wait to see what those two beautiful ladies make. It is so exciting. We have had a few sneaky Zoom calls together, so I've got a little bit of an idea of what they're doing, but I just can't wait. It's so exciting. So it's my turn to tell you all about what I've chosen, what project I've chosen, and what I will be doing for the Sew Phoenix September 25 challenge. And I am going to be making a sleeveless top. So I am wearing a sleeveless top. So the sleeveless top that inspired me for this challenge is this one. Now, I have got a picture of me wearing it, and I may pop it on for a little bit later on in the video, but I wanted to show it off because I want to show you the insides. I want to show you the depths of this top. So this sleeveless top was very much inspired by the Sewing Bee, and if you've watched my channel, you will know that I love the Sewing Bee, and I've watched the Sewing Bee since the very first season, since the lovely Anne one in season 1, and but I wasn't actually sewing, and certainly not sewing garments, until season 7. And it was season 7 when they did the sleeveless top again. So they did it in season 2. And that is when I found out about understitching. And I'll talk a little bit about that, because when I was first watching Sewing Bee, all of these terminologies, all of these terms, sewing terms, was complete gobbledygook to me. But what I've realised that in my sewing journey, by watching Sewing Bee from the beginning, now, or certainly in the last few years, when I've read through instructions, or when I've been learning online, or when I've been going to workshops, I've suddenly realised that a lot of the terminology that I'm seeing, I'm thinking, I know this. And the reason I know this is because of Sewing Bee. So yeah, I'm definitely a self-taught Sewing Bee sewist. So the lovely shell top. In season 7, they had a go at this, of doing it. And this is what inspired me to have a go. I literally made this, I think it was probably in the same week that they made it on the bee, and I absolutely love it. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. So I will just turn it inside out for you and show you. So it is basically constructed of a front piece and a back piece. The front piece has got darts in, and then it's got a front facing and a back facing, and then it's got a little rouleau loop. In fact, for the first challenge for season 2, they had to do a hand sewn loop, and then I think they had a rouleau loop for season 7. So I went in between the two and just used a elastic band. I used an old hair band, and as you can see, I've popped on a little handmade button. I've kind of, yeah, in lots and lots of ways, I am so proud of this make, because it was something I put on, I wore, and I thought, and it fitted me, and I thought it was fantastic. But I've realised that over the years, there's lots and lots of different ways that I can improve it and make it better. So as you can see, this seam, is totally unfinished. Not finished. I've just sewn it and left it, and because I have worn it, and it's standing up okay, but I don't wear this top all that often. And then on the facing, you can see here, I've kind of had a go at zigzagging around the edge where my facing is, but I didn't do it on the other side. And I didn't do it on the seams. So I think at some point I've gone, oh, I probably should finish this, but then didn't really know how to do it. I think I've tried to hem it here as well. So yeah, so this was just pure, I had no idea, complete naivety. I had no idea. But because I had no idea what I was doing wrong, as Rachel says, you only know what you know. I was happy with it, very, very happy with it. The other thing that I hope that I have improved is the hemming. So I've done a very crude hem here. It's not particularly well finished. It's just turned over and hemmed. And as you can, I don't know whether you can see my stitches, but it is definitely in no way near a straight line. But again, I'm very happy with it. So I will pop some pictures up so you can see me wearing it. And as you can see, since I have had another go at it, but this time, instead of doing the facing, I actually used bias binding. I used my Specky seamstress bias binding. And while we'll talk about that, the lovely Specky seamstress team, has done this fantastic bias binding for us. It says reimagined, redesigned, remade, and it's got a little symbol for each of us. It's got the little star, the little bee for Katherine, and the little flamingo for Raxhael. And you can buy this bias binding. So if you are doing a project for Sew Phoenix that you need to use bias binding for, then why not go and pick yourself up some bias binding, and you can pop that into your project. And I am definitely going to be doing that when I remake the project. So I've popped on my original to show you a few of the changes that I want to make and the reasons why. So as you can see, I've got a little bit of gaping here, and the reason that is that I needed to do a little bit more of a bust adjustment. I need a little bit more room because everything is kind of pulling and not quite in the right place. And I have since found out that if I do a bust adjustment on the regular size, then I get a little bit more room and it fits me beautifully. I did go round a few different ways. I first just sized up. I just made the bigger size, and although that did help here, it meant that everything was big. It was big everywhere. I don't need it any different sizes anywhere else. I just need a little bit more room in the bust area. So another thing that I want to change is the fabric type. Don't get me wrong, I love the space theme fabric. It's the reason that I made it in this fabric, is that I wanted to make clothes that reflected me, and it absolutely does. But in hindsight, was this stiff quilting cotton the right fabric type to use? Probably not. If you would like to find out more about fabric types, I do have a blog on my website that tells you all about the best types of fabric to use for different garment types, because I have learned a lot since then and I popped it in my blog. So yeah, so that's the other thing I want to change. A few other things that I want to just perfect is I want to change the length a little bit. Let me just stand up. As you can see, it finishes kind of just below, and I would like it to just finish a little bit higher up, because I have found that just helps with kind of sorting out where things finish, helps with my body shape, and helps me feel comfortable in my clothes. So, and other than that, I will just enjoy the reimagined, redesigned and remaking of my new top. So how am I going to go about remaking my project? So first things first is, when I made this one, I used a pattern that I found online, and when you typed in sewing bee, it was a pattern that took you to a link to a sewing magazine free pattern, and I downloaded it, and it was all very lovely, and I kind of printed it together, I kind of stuck it together. And because I was very new to the kind of sticking, it just didn't seem to work for me. I knew what the pattern pieces should look like, because I've seen the show, and it just didn't seem to work. So I Googled another pattern, and that's when I found one of my favourite patterns of all time. And that is a pattern by the lovely Angela Kane, and it's simply called the Sleeveless Top, and it is number 532. I sometimes get those numbers the long way around. So it's Angela Kane Sleeveless Top 532, and I use that pattern now Sam sewing kind of 4 years on. I use that so much for so many other things, and I hack it a lot. But what I have never done is I've never just gone back and made a stray copy of this one in a different fabric. I've kind of changed it and evolved it. I've used bias binding, I've made it into different things. I've never just made a straight copy. So that's what my intention is to do. So I'm going to use that pattern. And although I love this fabric, it's very me, in hindsight, a quilting cotton probably wasn't the best type of fabric to use. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use 100% viscose, and it's a fabric from the lovely Andrea at Beyond the Pink Door. And here it is. It's from her Summer Carnival collection, and it's called Midnight Prowl. Ooh. And I know some might say that this is animal print, which is definitely not me. I don't see animal print at all. I just see lots of fun. In fact, what I see is, it looks to me a little bit like bacteria looks when you look under a microscope. Now, to some people, they might think, ugh. But to me, I think it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I love the colours. It's 100% viscose. It's got some gorgeous grape. It's not got any grapes. More's the pity. It's got gorgeous drape to it. It's 110 grams per metre, which means it's light, but it's not super light. So it will kind of hold nicely, but it will also drape nicely. And it is 148 centimetres wide, and I've bought 1.5 metres. Now, you don't need anywhere near 1.5 metres for this shell top. So what I was thinking that I would do is I'm going to make one which is just a straight copy, a full straight copy with the facing, and then I'm going to make another one using the bias binding from Specky seamstress. So I will have 2 sleeveless tops that are similar but different, because I know in this fabric I'm going to want to wear it over and over again. So to have 2 that are similar, and also I thought it would be nice to have these 2 in my studio with the different ways of finishing, because then my lovely students can come and have a look at different ways of finishing their tops. So yeah, what do you think? So that's our lovely plans for our challenge make, but what about yours? How are you getting on with yours? Don't forget that throughout September you can use the hashtag SewPhoenixSeptember25 WIP to show us all of your work in progress. And do you know what? We're all really nosy, so we'd love to find out how you're getting on. And if you have kind of gone, or got onto a bit of a stumbling block and you are really struggling, then don't forget to use the hashtag SewPhoenixSeptember25 help, and hope one of us will come and try and see what we can do to help you, because this is a sewing journey, a learning journey, and we're hoping to sew and learn together. I cannot wait to see you again for the reveal video at the end of September. But until then, don't forget to sparkle. Bye for now.